Our lives can be pretty stressful, so let's lighten the mood and talk about what genuinely makes us laugh and smile.
The silly thing about me is that I always want to be in a grocery store and dancing in the aisles. So I will always find an opportunity to dance and be silly and let my lanky limbs loose. I just love to express myself with movement and sound, just you know, doesn't have to be real words.
Can you say, "Let my lanky limbs loose" 3 times in a row?
Let my lanky limbs loose, let my lanky limbs loose, let my lanky limbs loose. You thought it'd be hard, it ain't.
That may be the funniest clip of this series. Todd, I understand you made an interesting purchase recently.
A couple years ago, I got my first full-time job in the industry. Hold your applause. And I thought, man, you know what? I haven't bought myself anything real nice that hasn't been directly useful for like work. You know, like I got a laptop, but I need that. It's a laptop. But I decided to drop $870 on a lightsaber.
As one does. Hey, sometimes you have to treat yourself.
I spend a lot of time on the train, and I'm just looking at people, and I'm like thinking up stories about who they are and what they're doing. Sometimes people fall asleep on the train and they're like snoring or punching people in their sleep, and I think it's so silly.
The silliest thing about me is whenever I'm really excited or I get good news, or even sometimes when I'm uncomfortable, I do this. And it gets me out of a lot of situations, like parking tickets.
I often laugh at my own jokes that nobody else does. That's a really important factor of my life. I'm not proud of it. My family makes me laugh and smile. They are everything to me. And then, as most people know about me, I have a dog named Carl, and he is my whole world. I love being sarcastic, and I love laughing at really inappropriate things that most people would find offensive and over the line. They bring me great joy.
Next up is May, who has such a strong appreciation for the little things in life. And she's right, it's where the funny is at.
This is my favorite!
Here's a perfect example of how May can make fun of herself and why it's so easy to make fun of May.
Despite being circular, this is a baseball diamond. And I started playing baseball 2 summers ago. You have to understand, I was the sports reporter who took out Grand Slam from my sportscast because I just thought they were extra fun adjectives. And I was like, that doesn't mean anything. Who cares if the sports team got Grand Slam? And then I started playing baseball. And at one point they said, okay, May, like we've got to get gloves. And I didn't understand why we needed a glove. I didn't realize that every player on the field needed a glove. I just thought it was what's the one, the catcher? And this guy, the pitcher? Why else would I need them? Everybody needed a glove. And so I had to borrow my friend's dad's glove that I just returned last week, actually, because baseball season is over. It's over, right?
Story. It is over.
Grapefruit? What about the grapefruit season? League.
That's the preseason.
Oh, okay.
That's before it starts.
All right. I like grapefruits.
Silliest thing about me. Let's see. It's funny, I consider myself a little bit of a dork and nerd, but with not the typical things you'd be dorky or nerdy about. Like, I'm not into comic books or anything like that. Like, I do love history, so I'll find all kinds of documentaries on that and, you know, bore people with it because I get oddly excited. Recently, I've been really into Toronto's urban development. For some reason, it fascinates me. So this is probably the dorkiest thing I did. I bought one of those road maps. You do? And I actually, with a pencil, started to map out my ideal transit system for Toronto just on my own, because I thought that'd be a fun thing to do for some reason. I guess another example too is I will go back and watch, because I'm a big sports fan as well, in history, I'll find on YouTube the broadcast of the 2002 NBA draft and watch it just to see how do they feel about those players, and these are all the it's parts of myself I like, so I don't hide from it.
My thing would have been you only get genuinely mad at sports-related items.
That's true. Real life events I can take calmly, but if the Leafs, Bucks, Raptors, or Jays lose, I can't handle that as well as losing my job.
And speaking of sports...
I know it's silly. I know it's really silly. There's a wide receiver in the league named Julio Jones, and he just went water skiing, and he lost one $100,000 earring. Okay, so not only does he go water skiing, but he goes water skiing with $100,000 earrings in his ears, and he hires a dive team to try and go find it in the bottom of the lake. I thought that was just like, that's your life, where you're literally spending your money on dive teams to retrieve $100,000 earrings that you wouldn't take out for water skiing? What's a wide receiver water skiing for anyways? It's not exactly the safest friggin' sport in the world, right? And he goes water skiing, so I thought that was hysterical.
Oh boy, I can be silly. You know, sometimes you gotta make your own fun, and believe me, fun follows me around. You gotta have fun by yourself. Like, I have dance parties alone in my apartment all the time. And I pretend like I'm the front man, and I'll say things aloud to no one, like, okay, I think we got time for one more. I have a set list in my head, and I just go through it, and there's no shame about it. Shame and I separated many years ago, and I gotta say, I don't miss shame at all. I think if you don't have shame, or little amounts of shame, your life is better off. I love a good joke. I love crafting jokes, like the language of jokes and the delivery of jokes. I'm super into that, and the studying of comedy. I love watching people converse. I'm a huge people watcher and conversationalist. I love communication, and I know that's weird, but I just, you know, people populate this planet, and it makes the world go round, so I think studying that is very fascinating.